My son fired me from the company I built, so I bought his competitor. The email arrived at 6 in the morning. I was at the kitchen counter with coffee, watching light break over the driveway, when my phone lit up. The subject line read, "Board resolution, immediate transition." I opened it. 3 paragraphs of legal language, 1 outcome. Effective immediately, I was no longer Chief Executive Officer of Meridian Solutions. My access credentials would be deactivated by noon. A severance package had been prepared. The signature at the bottom belonged to my son. I set the phone down. The coffee was still hot. Outside, a cardinal landed on the fence post, cocked its head, and flew off. I picked up the phone again and read it through twice more. The words did not change. 26 years of work, stripped away in a document that took less than a minute to read. I thought about calling him. Then I thought about what I would say. I decided silence was the wiser option. By 8 o'clock, I knew what had happened. The board meeting had taken place the evening before, while I was at a supplier dinner 2 states away. My son had scheduled it deliberately. He had the votes lined up. 3 board members I had brought on myself over the years, convinced by him that the company needed younger vision, faster execution, a leader who understood the new landscape. They had not called me. They had not warned me. The decision had been clean and surgical. I had built Meridian from a single contract and a rented office. Back then, my son was still in middle school. I worked 70-hour weeks, took no vacations, reinvested every dollar. The company grew because I understood the work, knew the clients, and never cut corners. When he graduated college, he asked to join. I said yes. He was sharp, confident, good with people in a way I had never been. I thought it would be a partnership. For a few years it was. But something shifted. He started using the word legacy in meetings, always with a tone that made it sound like a burden. He talked about pivoting, scaling, disrupting. He brought in consultants who spoke in acronyms and charged by the hour. I watched the culture change. The people who had been with me from the beginning started leaving quietly. He replaced them with younger hires who had degrees from schools I had never heard of and no interest in how things actually worked. I should have seen it coming. 3 months earlier, he had suggested I take on a more advisory role. He framed it as a kindness. I could focus on strategy, spend more time at home, let him handle the day-to-day. I told him I was not ready. He smiled and said he understood. The next week, he started holding meetings I was not invited to. When I asked about them, he said they were operational details, nothing I needed to worry about. I let it go. That was my mistake. Now I sat with the email and understood what advisory had really meant. It had been the opening offer. I had refused, so he took the faster path. I spent the rest of the morning in my office at home, going through files I had kept over the years. Contracts, correspondence, financial summaries. I was methodical. I did not hurry. By noon, my corporate login no longer worked, exactly as promised. I tried it once, saw the error message, and closed the laptop. Then I made a list. The first call I placed was to an attorney I had worked with during an acquisition 8 years prior. Her name was Geneva Moss. She was precise, humorless, and very good at what she did. She answered on the second ring. I explained the situation in 4 sentences. She asked if I had signed anything. I said no. She asked if the severance agreement included a non-compete. I said I had not opened it yet. She told me not to sign anything and scheduled a meeting for the following afternoon. The second call went to an accountant who had audited Meridian twice and knew the numbers better than anyone. His name was Calvin Drexler. I asked him a single question. If someone wanted to calculate what Meridian was worth without me, what would the multiplier look like? He was quiet for a moment, then said he would run some models. I thanked him and hung up. The third call I did not make. I wanted to. I had her number in my contacts. My son's mother had passed away 11 years ago, and there were moments I still reached for the phone to talk through something difficult. This was one of them. Instead, I sat in the silence and let the weight of it settle. That night, I did not sleep much. I kept thinking about a conversation we had, my son and I, maybe 2 years back. We were driving home from a client meeting. He was at the wheel. I was looking out the window. He said something I had not forgotten. He said the problem with my generation was that we confused effort with results. We thought showing up early and staying late meant something. He said the future belonged to people who understood leverage. I asked him what he meant. He said it meant knowing when to let go. At the time, I thought he was talking about delegation. Now I understood he had been talking about me. The meeting with Geneva Moss took place in her office downtown, a corner room with floor-to-ceiling windows and furniture that looked like it cost more than my first car. She had already reviewed the severance package. She slid a printed copy across the table, sections highlighted in yellow. The non-compete clause was aggressive. 2 years, 50-mile radius, any business remotely adjacent to Meridian's operations. The severance itself was generous by most standards, but nothing close to what my equity stake should have been worth. She asked if I wanted to fight it. I said I did not know yet. She said the board resolution was legal, assuming proper notice and quorum. I had been minority shareholder for 3 years, ever since I had diluted my stake to bring in outside investors. My son had consolidated voting control quietly, acquiring shares from early employees who cashed out and from one of the investors who wanted liquidity. It had been careful and slow. I had not been paying attention. Geneva asked what I wanted. I told her I wanted to think. She said that was fine, but I should not wait too long. Momentum mattered in these situations. I thanked her and left. Calvin sent his analysis 2 days later. It was thorough and grim. Meridian's value was tied heavily to client relationships I had built personally. Many of those clients stayed because they trusted me. If I left, retention would suffer. Revenue would dip. The company would stabilize eventually, but not at the same level. My son had made a bet that the dip would be manageable, and that he could replace me faster than the damage spread. Calvin's model suggested the bet was risky, but not impossible. I read the report twice, then called him. I asked a different question. If someone wanted to enter the same market with an established competitor as a partner, what would the barriers look like? He said it depended on the competitor. I said assume they were mid-sized, competent, and hungry. He said the barriers would be lower than most people thought, especially if the competitor had been looking for an edge and found the right leadership. I thanked him and ended the call. That afternoon, I started making a list of every competitor Meridian had faced in the last decade. There were 7 worth considering. I eliminated 4 immediately. 1 had been acquired. 2 were too small. 1 had ethics problems I would not touch. That left 3. I researched each one carefully, reading trade publications, looking at leadership bios, checking financial filings where available. One name kept surfacing. Dalton Pritchard ran a firm called Apex Group. They were smaller than Meridian, but lean and well-managed. Pritchard had a reputation for integrity and competence. More importantly, he had been trying to break into 2 markets Meridian dominated, and failing because I had locked down the key relationships. I found his email through a mutual contact and sent a brief message. I introduced myself, noted that I was no longer with Meridian, and suggested we meet if he had an hour to spare. I did not explain further. He replied within 30 minutes. We scheduled lunch for the following week. The restaurant was quiet, wood-paneled, the kind of place where people talked business without raising their voices. Dalton Pritchard arrived exactly on time. He was younger than I expected, maybe 40, with a firm handshake and an easy manner. We ordered, exchanged pleasantries, and then he got to the point. He said he had heard about my departure and was sorry to hear it. I thanked him and said it had been time for a change. He smiled slightly, the way people do when they know you are not telling the whole story, but respect you enough not to press. I laid it out simply. I had relationships with a dozen major clients who would take my call. I knew Meridian's cost structure, operational weaknesses, and strategic blind spots. I was not interested in starting my own firm. I was interested in helping someone else win. In exchange, I wanted an ownership stake, a seat on the board, and a consulting role that let me work on my terms. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he leaned back and asked why I wasn't going after Meridian directly. I said revenge was expensive and obvious. I preferred clarity. He asked what I meant by clarity. I said I wanted to prove a point, that competence and relationships still mattered, that replacing someone was not the same as replacing what they knew. He nodded slowly, then asked how soon I could start. I said as soon as the paperwork cleared. He said he would have his attorney draft something. We shook hands in the parking lot. He told me he had been trying to crack into the logistics sector for 3 years and had been blocked every time. I told him that would change. He asked if I was sure. I said I was. The next 8 weeks moved faster than I expected. Geneva reviewed the partnership agreement and pronounced it fair. I signed. The agreement was structured carefully. I would take a 20% equity stake in Apex Group with board representation and operational autonomy over client strategy. My non-compete with Meridian had a 50-mile radius, but Apex was headquartered 63 miles away. The geography was deliberate. I had measured it myself. Before the announcement went public, I spent 2 weeks preparing. I created detailed dossiers on every significant client Meridian served. For each one, I noted the history of our relationship, the key decision makers, their priorities, and the specific projects I had overseen. I documented conversations, remembered birthdays, recalled the names of their assistants. This was not guesswork. This was institutional knowledge that lived in my head and nowhere else. I also reviewed Meridian's current project roster. My son had left digital breadcrumbs everywhere. Internal memos, status reports, budget projections. I had access to none of it officially, but I had spent 26 years building relationships with people who still worked there. People who respected what I had done. People who were troubled by what they were seeing now. A former project manager sent me a spreadsheet showing budget overruns on 4 major accounts. An operations director forwarded me a string of client complaints that had been escalated and then ignored. I did not ask for these things. They arrived because people wanted me to know. I took notes. I did not respond. I simply archived everything in a secure folder and continued planning. Apex Group announced my arrival in a press release that was professional and understated. The language was simple. After 26 years leading operations at Meridian Solutions, I had joined Apex Group as a senior partner to help expand strategic client services. No mention of termination. No mention of betrayal. Just facts. Within 2 days, my phone started ringing. Former clients, old contacts, people who had worked with me and knew what I could do. I took the calls, listened carefully, and made notes. Some were simply checking in, curious about the change. Others had questions about ongoing projects at Meridian that were stalling. A few were direct. They asked if I was available for new work. I told them I was, but I did not push. Pushing would have looked desperate. Instead, I listened. I asked questions. I let them talk themselves toward the conclusion I knew they would reach. 3 clients scheduled exploratory meetings. One of them was Meridian's second largest account. I did not initiate that conversation. They reached out to me. The CEO was a man named Ron Halstead. We had worked together for 9 years. He had called me directly when problems arose, trusted my judgment, and paid his invoices on time. When Meridian announced my departure, he had sent a polite email wishing me well. Now he wanted to meet. We sat in his office on a Tuesday afternoon. He offered coffee. I accepted. He asked how I was doing. I said I was doing fine. He said he had heard I joined Apex. I confirmed it. He said he had been working with my son for the past 2 months, and things were not going smoothly. Deadlines were being missed. Communication had become sporadic. Costs were creeping up. He did not say he was looking to leave Meridian. He did not have to. I asked him what he needed. He described 2 projects that were stalled. I recognized them immediately. They were projects I had designed the frameworks for before my departure. My son had inherited them, but did not understand the nuances. I told Ron I could have proposals on his desk within a week. He said he would review them. We shook hands. As I left, he said he appreciated my discretion. I told him discretion was just good business. The proposals went out on schedule. They were detailed, competitive, and built on years of understanding Ron's operation. Apex won both contracts. The revenue was not enormous, but the signal was. Within a month, 2 more Meridian clients made inquiries. I handled each one the same way: professional, courteous, and relentlessly competent. I did not hear from my son during this period. I did not expect to, but I knew he was watching. The industry was small enough that word traveled. I knew he would see the client losses. I knew he would recognize the pattern. I wondered if he would call. He did not. Instead, I heard from one of the board members, a man named Paul Everett. He had voted to remove me. Now he wanted to meet for coffee. I agreed. We met at a place near his office. He looked uncomfortable from the moment he sat down. He said the board was concerned about client attrition. He said my son had assured them it was temporary. He asked if I had any advice. I said I did not. He asked if I was trying to hurt Meridian. I said I was trying to run a business. He nodded and changed the subject. But the question lingered. Was I trying to hurt Meridian? I thought about it on the drive home. The answer was no. I was trying to prove that value had a source, and that source was not interchangeable. My son had believed he could remove me and retain everything I had built. He was learning otherwise. That was not revenge, it was education. By month 4, Apex had picked up 6 former Meridian clients and 3 new ones. Revenue was climbing. Dalton Pritchard told me I had exceeded every projection. He asked what I thought would happen next. I said Meridian would stabilize eventually, but not at the level they expected. The damage was not fatal, but it was deep. My son would have to rebuild trust one relationship at a time, and trust took years. He did not have years. He had investors who wanted growth and a board that was losing confidence. I was proven right faster than I anticipated. In month 5, I received a call from Geneva Moss. She said she had been contacted by Meridian's legal counsel. They wanted to discuss a settlement. I asked what kind of settlement. She said they were offering to buy out my non-compete in exchange for my agreement not to solicit any remaining Meridian clients. The offer was substantial. I told her I would think about it. That evening, I sat in my office and considered the proposal. The money was real. It would have been easy to take it, step back, and let the situation cool. But something about it felt wrong. It felt like my son was trying to buy silence, to make the problem go away without acknowledging what had caused it. I did not need his money. I needed him to understand that competence could not be fired. I called Geneva the next morning and told her to decline. She asked if I was sure. I said I was. She asked me to explain my reasoning. I told her that accepting the money would validate the premise that I was the problem, that I was a threat that needed to be managed. I was not a threat. I was a professional doing work I had always done. If Meridian could not compete, that was not my responsibility to fix by disappearing. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said she understood. She said she would communicate the decision and to expect a response within 48 hours. She was right. 2 days later, I received a call from my son. It was the first time we had spoken since the email. The phone rang while I was reviewing a contract proposal. I saw his name on the screen. I let it ring twice more before answering. His voice was measured, controlled, the tone he used in negotiations when he wanted to sound reasonable. He said he thought we should talk. I agreed. He suggested his office. I suggested a neutral location. We settled on a park bench near the river, a place we used to go when he was younger. I remembered those visits. Sunday afternoons when he was maybe 8 or 9, I would take him down to the river to throw stones and talk about things that mattered to him. School, friends, whatever was on his mind. He always asked good questions. I thought he was listening. Maybe he was. Maybe he just grew into someone who stopped caring about the answers. I arrived first. It was late afternoon. The park was nearly empty. A jogger passed. A woman with a dog. The river moved steadily, the same as it had 20 years ago. My son arrived 5 minutes later, wearing a suit that probably cost more than I used to make in a month. He had adopted a kind of uniform. Dark suits, expensive shoes, a watch that caught the light. The costume of success. We sat. He asked how I was. I said I was fine. He said he had heard about the client losses. I said I had heard the same. He said it was making things difficult. I said I imagined it was. He asked me what I wanted. I said I wanted him to understand something. He waited. I told him that building a company was not about leverage or disruption, or any of the other words he had learned from consultants. It was about showing up, knowing the work, and keeping your word. I told him I had built Meridian by doing those things for 26 years. He had taken it from me in a single meeting. Now he was learning what I had known all along. The company was not a spreadsheet, it was relationships, and relationships did not transfer. He said I was being vindictive. I said I was being clear. He said I was costing him clients. I said he had cost himself clients the moment he thought he could replace me without consequence. His jaw tightened. I saw the flash of anger he usually kept hidden. He said I had built Meridian, but I had also made it stagnant. That growth required risk, that I had been holding the company back, that the board agreed with him. I asked him if the board agreed with him now. He did not answer that. Instead, he said he had tried to do this the right way. I asked him what the right way looked like. An email at 6 in the morning? A meeting I was deliberately excluded from? He stood up. He said I was impossible to work with. That I had always been impossible. That letting me go was the best decision he had ever made. He said it with conviction, the way people do when they are trying to convince themselves. Then he walked away without another word. I sat on the bench for a while after he left. The river moved steadily, indifferent to everything. I thought about the years I had spent building something I believed would last. I thought about the moment I realized it would not. And I thought about what I had built in the months since. It was smaller, leaner, but it was mine in a way Meridian had never been, even when my name was on the door. By month 7, Meridian's quarterly earnings were down 18%. The board replaced my son as CEO. He remained on as a board member, but the operational control he had fought for was gone. Dalton called me the day the news broke. He asked if I had heard. I said I had. He asked how I felt. I said I felt nothing in particular. He laughed and said I was a terrible liar. The truth was more complicated. I felt relief, but not satisfaction. I felt clarity, but not closure. My son had made a choice, and the choice had consequences. I had made a choice too. I had chosen to prove that value was earned, not taken. The proof was complete. Apex continued to grow. I scaled back my hours, spent more time at home, and took the vacation I had been putting off for years. I traveled alone, spent mornings reading, and evenings watching the ocean. When I returned, Dalton asked if I was ready to retire. I said not yet. There was still work worth doing. I saw my son once more, about a year after the park bench conversation. It was at an industry conference. We passed each other in a hallway. He nodded. I nodded back. We did not stop to talk. There was nothing left to say. He had wanted to prove he could run the company without me. I had proved he could not. The equation was balanced. I think about legacy sometimes, the word he used to use with that particular tone. He thought legacy was something you inherited or seized. I learned it was something you earned quietly, over years, in rooms where no one was keeping score. My legacy was not Meridian. It was the knowledge that competence and integrity outlasted ambition. It was the relationships I built and kept. It was the proof that you cannot fire what you never understood. The company I helped build after my son tried to erase me is smaller than Meridian ever was. It is also stronger. It does not carry my name. It does not need to. The people who work there know what I brought. The clients know what I deliver. And my son knows, whether he admits it or not, that removing me from the building did not remove me from the industry. I do not regret what happened. Regret is for people who wish they had chosen differently. I chose clarity over bitterness, proof over revenge, and competence over noise. Those choices cost me a company I built with my hands. They earned me something more valuable. They earned me the quiet knowledge that I was right all along. I still get calls from former colleagues, people who left Meridian after I did, people who saw the culture shift and decided it was not for them. They ask if I am hiring. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I am not. But I always take the call. I always listen. Because that is what you do when you understand that business is not about leverage. It is about people. My son runs a smaller company now. He reports to a board that does not trust him the way they once did. He has learned some lessons. Maybe not the ones I would have taught him, but lessons nonetheless. I do not take pleasure in his struggle. I do not take pleasure in his humbling. But I do take a certain quiet satisfaction in knowing that the equation balanced itself. The cardinal is back on the fence post this morning. I am drinking coffee again, watching light break over the driveway. My phone is on the counter. There are no emails that will surprise me, no board resolutions, no betrayals I did not see coming. I built something once, and I watched it taken. Then I built something else, smaller and wiser. That is enough. Competence is not loud. It does not need to be. It shows up early, does the work, and outlasts the noise. I learned that 30 years ago, and I proved it again when my son thought he could replace me with a meeting. He learned it too, the hard way. Some lessons only land when they cost something. This one cost him a company. It taught me I never needed the title in the first place.